Peter Dutton has flagged his nuclear policy may include government subsidies or ownership of nuclear power plants. Let's bring in Andrew Clennell now. He's our political editor. He joins me here at the desk. So tell us, we're getting detail now.
Yeah, I thought I'd throw this one in there because I can't see the private sector doing it on its own, and he's pretty much confirmed that on Sunday Agenda yesterday. Yeah. He's also confirmed they're looking at 6 or 7 coal-fired power station sites, but he didn't say in this interview whether he's thinking about 6 nuclear reactors or 2 on 6 sites. So we'll have to wait for that. I suspect we'll get it in the midwinter break. Here was Peter Dutton yesterday.
We've said that we're looking at between 6 and 7 sites.
Do you expect government involvement in these nuclear power stations? Would they be government subsidised or even government owned?
Well, every energy at the moment, apart from coal, is. So wind and solar, the other green energy sources.
So government subsidised or government owned by the sound?
Well, let's have a look at. We'll make our announcement in due course, but I just make the point that wind and solar don't work without government subsidy. Now, I'm very strongly supportive of renewable energy, but it needs to be firmed up.
The cost of living is the only game in town, and Peter Dutton knows that. That's why he's moved off climate, taken that risk in the so-called Teal seats and gone on to power bills. That's why he's moving away from the 2030 target. He made that clear here.
There are pensioners this winter who are eating or heating, but not both. And I'm not going to contribute to further agony for Australians that the Prime Minister is imposing on them at the moment. And that'll be a big difference between the two parties as we go into the next election. I think it would be responsible to take advice from Treasury and Finance and the central agencies about the economic conditions. We have a look at all of that information, and if there are settings that we need to change, then we would change them if it means helping families with the cost of living crisis that Labor has created.
And now, I know in our budget coverage I spoke about the prospect of an early election. My understanding is clear it won't be in September. I'm starting to now doubt it'll be in November or December. And part of that's because these polls are pretty poor for the government. You're not going to go there if you're going to only win 69 or 70 seats. In 3 weeks, though, the stage 3 tax cuts come, the energy bill relief comes, and they're relying on wages going up too. But nevertheless, I think it's starting to lean towards an election next year now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that too. I mean, he did give himself the option in the budget, absolutely no doubt. But it's looking like next year. And even at the Sky Economic Outlook Forum, Anthony Albanese, when speaking to you, said he thinks terms are too short. They've lost on the 4-year term, so he's not going to go down that path. So, look, they always go when they win, when they think they have the best chance of winning, don't they? But look, I think it's really interesting where this nuclear debate goes. I think it's a big gamble for Peter Dutton. He needs to have more of his frontbench ministers out there prosecuting the argument on cost of living. But Andrew, don't you think that if you actually concentrate, I mean, the government's out there saying to Peter Dutton and the coalition, oh, this is based on technology that's unproven, it'll be super expensive, blah, blah, blah. But what is the plan for Labor for that 10 to 20% that renewables can't fill? Is it going to be coal? Is it going to be gas? So there's a bit of dishonesty there as well, which I think might be a little bit of an opportunity. Yeah,
I think so too, but, you know, it's still a gamble. And he's saying your green hydrogen's untested.
It is.
They're saying your small modular reactors are untested. So they've both got an argument. The big hole in his policy, though, Peter Dutton, is he's going on about power bills now. What's he going to do about power bills until 2040 when there's a nuclear reactor? He said in that interview, oh, we'll get more gas into the system. But, you know...
Well, gas is the short-term answer, isn't it?
There's no doubt.
Whether the government admits it or not, you know, got to look at those two targets. Yeah, they'll get to 42% of emission reduction on 2005 levels by 2030, but look at the massive gap in renewables. It's about half of the 82% it would be as well. So, look, we'll wait and see. And that's, but I think you're right. The next election is going to be all about cost of living. Peter Dutton is tapping into that. Economist Warren Hogan has an interesting take on employment. It dipped to 4% last week. So, what does he actually think about it?
Well, we every month get up and talk about unemployment and continue to wait, you and I think, for it to go up, and he's saying it just ain't. So he's saying in developed countries, the ageing population means that we've gone from all these years that I've been a political reporter, I've always spoken about unemployment as a key issue in electoral success. He's saying the labour shortage going forward is the issue. The baby boomers are growing up. They're in the aged care system. You need aged care workers. You need, to fill these gaps, but you don't have, unless you have migration, enough people, and then you don't have enough housing. That's the vortex, if you like, we're in. No longer in this situation where we fear 6, 7, 8% unemployment. And this is a problem, of course, for inflation. Here's Warren Hogan.
The demographic cycle has shifted. With the retirement of the baby boomers, what we're seeing is the dependency ratio going up. That is, the proportion of people in the economy who are not working rise. They all still consume, but that leaves only the working age or those in jobs to produce. For the last 50 years, economics has been all about unemployment. That has been the primary concern of policymakers and academic economists. That world's gone. The world now is about labour shortages, and I'm worried about the consequences of the so-called solving for the wrong problem.
Yeah, he's good, isn't he? Let's talk about the main game in Canberra today. That is a visit from the Chinese Premier. But what does a successful visit look like here today? No one's really wanting to put parameters around it, are they, Andrew?
I guess the government sees a successful visit as his coming at all, but we're treading on eggshells the whole time, given some of the defence issues, etc., cyber issues. So it's a difficult one. They've really put Peter Dutton front and centre, though, haven't they? I mean, they've got him out there meeting Premier Lee. They've got a meeting with him and Premier Lee. I know it's convention, but from the government's point of view, they think that he can't attack them for being weak while this is going on. They also see domestic political interest because of the high numbers of Chinese Australians in so many marginal seats, whether it be Reid or Bennelong or Aston or Tangney, that they need to hold on to. And they think this is a weakness for Peter Dutton. But Don Farrell yesterday, I mean, he had to make clear on Sunday Agenda that they weren't kowtowing to the Chinese authorities. And that's the concern in terms of perceptions on the other side of the political fence on this one.
We haven't kowtowed at all. We've continued to represent our national interest and our national security. But what we have done, Andrew, is to stabilise a relationship with our largest trading partner.
And the opposition leader on Sunday Agenda, I thought these were the most cautious comments I've ever seen him make on China ahead of his visit with his meeting, should I say, with the Chinese Premier this afternoon.
China's an incredibly important trading partner. I'd love to see the trading relationship increase twofold. I'd love to see there being a liberation of some of the trading arrangements, and I think that's to the mutual benefit of both China and Australia as well. But equally, as I say, with any partner where we have difficulties or in an honest, open relationship, it's important to raise not just the opportunities, but the grievances or the concerns. I was a minister heavily engaged with the Obama administration, with the Trump administration, with the Biden administration, and from time to time there are grievances as well as points of clarification, as well as points of heated agreement. That's the nature, obviously, of these relationships.
Yeah, I mean, he can read a room, Peter Dutton, can't he? Scott Morrison was a personnel problem when it came to the Chinese relationship for so long. Whether you agree with his stance or not, it affected our trading relationship. Peter Dutton obviously doesn't want to make that same mistake, Andrew?
Well, not on this occasion. His language is pretty strong the rest of the time, but I think read a room is right. I think a lot of people don't realise that Peter Dutton is a skilled politician. He's someone who commands a room a bit more than some of the people on his side, frankly. So that's one of his great skills. He is, believe it or not, he can be a bit of a diplomat, Peter Dutton.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw it just there. Andrew, great to see you.